and the Junior Hockey Discussion Group and the Victorious Hockey Company. This is the Junior Hockey Morning Show, recorded for December 12th, 2022. It's a Monday. We're on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and hopefully wherever you happen to be this morning. It's kind of weird. In the saddle today on my own. Had a guest lined up. He got sick. I kind of know how that feels. Throat's sounding a little better. Still a little groggly. If you guys can tolerate me for about 20, 30 minutes, we'll get into this and hopefully out without killing myself or anybody else in the process. Good weekend of hockey. In the North American Hockey League, some controversy regarding referees once again impacted a number of stories. Was certainly an absolute fiasco in Anchorage on Saturday night with Anchorage and Kenai River. There were some issues with the St. Cloud Norsemen. It's just been an interesting week and a lot of responses around the game. And I'm usually one of the guys that are going to back up the referees more times than not. But in this situation, the referees are clearly losing control of the game when it comes to the incident with St. Cloud and Coach Corey Millen. It was ugly as could possibly be. The referee disrespecting a coach that has been in the National Hockey League for, dozens of years. I think 13 or 14 years, and some 20-year-old referee has no respect for this guy whatsoever. It's just, the turds are going to hit the fan before you know it. And I wish things were different, but it is what it is. I think it's imperative that our game get control over on-ice officiating sooner than later. And it shouldn't be kids that have no clue about the level of play, shouldn't be there at all. How does a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old find himself manning a game at the NAHL level when he's barely the same age as the players? It's mind-boggling, especially when you see a complete lack of respect. Let's get into the North American Hockey League rankings for this week. We'll start at the bottom, where we usually start out with. And the bottom of our rankings, once again, is a team we're familiar with, the Danbury Hat-Tricks, 2-23-1-2. They continue their slide and are now winless in the last 14 games. The Generals visit this week in the last games before the holidays. Look for the Generals to have their way with the Hat-Tricks. Yeah, it's happening. Danbury Hat-Tricks are probably a middle-of-the-road team in the 3HL this year. How those kids got on the ice in Danbury, I have no idea, but they're there. The coaching staff is a train wreck. The team's a train wreck, and it's embarrassing. Just absolutely embarrassing. Could it be any worse? Absolutely. But they're a long way from getting any better. Number 28, Corpus Christi Ice Rays are 6-15-5-0. Ice Rays are swept at Odessa, earning an overtime point for their efforts on Saturday night. They visit Shreveport this week. Listen, the Ice Rays came into the season. They should have known what it was going to take to be successful in this division. They have plenty of experience. Bring in a new coach that, let's face it, he was coaching non-sanctioned hockey in Ontario. It's not the same as the North American Hockey League. You need to have people in place in this league that understand what it takes to be successful. This situation in Corpus was not it. Are they getting better? Absolutely. They're playing stronger, but they're already 9 games under 500 at this point, probably out of the playoffs. They really should concentrate on building a team for next year. We don't see that happening yet, but look for the second half. There'll be a lot of 17, 18-year-olds there getting the game experience it takes to be successful. Number 27, El Paso Rhinos are 10-14-1-0. The Rhinos salvaged their weekend with a hard-fought 3-2 win at New Mexico Sunday. after being swept at home by Lone Star. This week, El Paso goes to Amarillo. To me, it's like, which one do I dislike the most? Despite all things, I think Harry Mahood is worse than Corey Herman. So I got to go with El Paso on this one. Amarillo, I'll be your fan again. Get rid of this donkey we have behind the bench. Holy smokes. Number 26, Philadelphia Rebels, 10-15, 1-1. Justin Hale and the Rebels picked up an important win at Maryland Friday before earning the extra point in Saturday's OT loss. Look, I didn't expect Philadelphia to get any points out of the trip to Maryland, much less 3. Philadelphia faces Danbury this week for the only game of the week before going to the break. Number 25, Bismarck Bobcats are 10-12, 2-1. So Debbie and the Bobcats should be well rested after the week off. They got a war with Minot this week. It's a home and home series starting Friday night in Minot. It doesn't matter what the record is. Bismarck can be one of the worst teams in the league, and Minot can be the best, or vice versa. When these two teams get together, records are thrown out the window. It doesn't matter. These two guys don't like each other at all. These teams don't like each other at all. The fans don't like each other at all. It's going to be a war. Every time Bismarck and Minot get together, it's going to be a war. Number 24, Springfield Blues, 12-14, 0-0. The Blues are 2 games under 500. They split their roadie against the Wendigo. They host the Minnesota Wilderness this week in the last games before Christmas. Okay, I didn't expect the Blues to be in this position this late in the season. 2 games under 500 right now. If they can get back to 500 before the holidays, it's a win. Getting those 2 wins over the Wilderness won't be easy, but the Blues have the talent to pull that off, and let's see if they can get it done. Next is number 23, St. Cloud Norsemen, 11-12, 1-1, a game under 500. They look good in the weekend home sweep of Minot. There are 3 games on the schedule this week, all against North Iowa, starting Thursday in Mason City. Friday and Saturday games are in St. Cloud. The Norsemen are a good hockey team, much better than being number 23 in the league and a game under 500. A lot of injuries, a lot of situations, suspensions, all these things have hindered the Norsemen all year long. Corey Millen is one of the best coaches in the league. He'll get it right. This team will get it right. They're not going to peak before Christmas. They'll peak probably in March, and that's okay. Just make the playoffs. That's a team no one wants to face in the playoffs anyway. Number 22, Odessa Jackalopes, 12-12, 0-1, are in a bit of a hot streak. They're back to 500, rocking a 5-game winning streak after the weekend sweep of Corpus. Okay. Oklahoma comes to town this weekend. Tall task for Odessa. A split would be acceptable. But could they really do something crazy and sweep Oklahoma? That would make the rest of the season very interesting. Scott Dewar's team has to win at least one of those 2 games this weekend. They could do it. They could take 2. We'll see how it goes. Number 21, Georgetown Tomahawks, 12-12, 2-0. They've won 7 wins in the last 10 games. They lost Thursday 5-2 to Maine. That was ugly. But they look good in wins over Maine on Friday and Saturday. New Jersey comes to town this weekend. Georgetown starting to pick it up a little bit. Are they among the elite in the league? Not today, but they have all the assets in place to get back to the top again. Let's see what happens. Number 22, Minot Montoros, 13-12, 1-1. Reeling a bit after getting swept at St. Cloud. Once again, look for the intensity this weekend to be outstanding between the Montoros and the Bobcats. Again, all records get tossed in the garbage can. These 2 teams are not fond of each other, and it's going to show on Friday and Saturday night. Number 19, Wisconsin Wendigo, 13-12, 1-0. 7-2 in 0-1 the last 10 games after the weekend split with Springfield. This is a good hockey team. It looked good when they visited Alaska. They're looking good recently within the play in that division in Wisconsin. I like how they're doing. Anchorage comes to town this weekend to close out the pre-Christmas schedule. Anchorage could be in trouble here. Wisconsin is a good hockey team. Speaking of Anchorage, number 18, Anchorage Wolverines, 12-10, 5-1. Picked up 3 points in the weekend home battle with Kenai River. Saturday's 11-3 win was clearly one of the worst officiating performances in recent history at any level. We'll see what the suspensions are going to be like this week, how that disaster in the third period is going to play into this weekend visit to Wisconsin. I wonder how many kids will be suspended. There's going to be a number for sure. Maybe 1, maybe 3, maybe 4. We'll get the lowdown on that later on today. Number 17, Shreveport Mudbugs, 12-10, 2-2 in the Bugs put the weekend sit at Amarillo, giving up 3 points in the process after Friday's overtime win. Every point is tough in this division. And the Ice Rays visit Shreveport this weekend. Shreveport is not in any kind of position to let the Ice Rays out with a point. It's that time of the year. Things are serious. The Bugs are 2 games over 500 at this point. There's a lot of pressure to be amongst the top 4 in that division. And Shreveport, if they're going to be there, stepping it up now would set the tone for the rest of the season. Let's see what happens this weekend. Number 16, North Iowa Bulls, 13-11, 2-0. They should be healthy and well rested after the weekend off. We got, again, 3 games with St. Cloud this weekend starting Thursday in Mason City. Friday, Saturday games are in St. Cloud. Already, North Iowa and St. Cloud don't like each other. I don't think anybody likes North Iowa at this point. This division is tough. Todd Stanton does things a different kind of way. Not the best culture in the world in North Iowa. So let's see what happens this weekend. Usually, this time last year, they were kind of hot and started slowing down at Christmas time. It's happening again with the Bulls, and we'll see if that trend continues this year. Number 15, the Amarillo Wranglers are 12-9, 2-1. Picked up 3 points in the home split with Shreveport. They won just 4 games in the last 10. Now they're riding a mediocre highway, but that's expected. So nothing short of a home sweep this weekend should be acceptable in Amarillo. And we'll see how that plays out. I don't think they'll sweep El Paso. I think that El Paso's going to give them more of a game than they want, and that's to be expected. Number 14, Maine Nordiques, 13-10, 1-0. Snuck one by Johnstown on Thursday before getting swallowed on Friday and Saturday. Maryland visits the Coliseum this weekend. Look, if it wasn't for Danbury and Philadelphia and this situation there, Maine wouldn't have the record they have. They've been beating up on these little sisters of the poor for the whole season long. I don't really think they're that good of a hockey team. Certainly not the 14th ranked team in the league, but here they are. Number 13, Kenai River Brown Bears are 16-12, 1-0 after the split in Anchorage this weekend. They face Chippewa this week in Wisconsin, before the Christmas break. Number 12, Fairbanks Ice Dogs are 15-11, 3-0. They had the weekend off as well. And be making their way to Wisconsin this week to face the Jets. Fairbanks and Dave Allison, surprised the guy still has a job. They haven't won a home series since February of last year. People in Fairbanks think that Allison hung the moon. Dude, I just don't see it. So far, I haven't seen it at all. Probably the worst coach so far in Ice Dogs history as of today. Number 11, Janesville Jets, 13-9, 2-4. Jets have just 3 wins in the last 10 games after the weekend home set against the Wilderness. The Ice Dogs visit Janesville this weekend. This is, again, the last action before Christmas. Joe Dibble and the Jets are doing what they always do, kind of slinking their way towards Christmas, getting hot after the first of the year, and being a contender at the end. They usually have a lot of younger players, and it takes a little bit to adjust to the junior game. Being 4 games over 500 at this point is a good sign for Janesville. Losing to Chippewa and Wendigo was not. So we'll see how that resonates this weekend when Fairbanks visits. Number 10, New Jersey Titans are 16-11, 1-1. The Titans are a much better team than Northeast General, so it's difficult to understand why the Titans continue to find themselves playing a lesser brand of hockey against teams like Collegiate. Better. The home weekend, the home split with the Generals has to be considered a disappointment, especially considering how well the team has been playing it lately. So which team shows up in Johnstown this week? The one that got beat by the Generals or the one that beat the Generals? Tough call. Speaking of the Generals, number 9, 15-10, 3-0. Kind of hard to decide if this is a good hockey team or not. They win games, they lose games, they beat teams, and it's not supposed to. They lose the teams they should be winning easily. It's just a weird situation. And the weekend split at Jersey only raised more questions. Yes, this weekend's pre-Christmas trip to Danbury should be plenty of chances for the Generals to pat themselves on the back. And it will happen. They'll probably get a sweep of the Generals because the Generals will sweep Danbury because the Generals are much better than they are. Danbury's a 3HL team playing in the league. Shouldn't be a question. Throat's killing me. Please forgive me here. All right, go to number 8. New Mexico Ice Wolves. They got a win over Oklahoma Saturday after losing to the Warriors 6-4 on Friday. But the real kicker of the weekend has to be Sunday's 3-2 home loss to El Paso. That was ugly. New Mexico travels to Lone Star this week before the break. That can be ugly as well. What's going on with New Mexico? Number 7, Chippewa Steel, 16-10, 1-1. Casey Vignon Steel rounded out the top 8 after opening the month of December with 3 straight wins. K9 visits this week after getting hammered in Anchorage on Saturday. Chippewa's a better team than the Brown Bears. We know that. Let's see if that happens this weekend. It should. Number 6, Aberdeen Wings, 14-8, 1-2. Scott Langer, 8 wins in the last 10 games, 3-game winning streak. Sweep Austin Bruins at home. Wings travel to Austin this week to close out the pre-Christmas schedule. Was there any doubt that Langer would get this team back on track? No one doubted that. How fast he was able to do it, that's crazy. It is Scott Langer, it is Aberdeen Wings, and they are a contender. That's automatic. Number 5, Minnesota Wilderness are 17-9, 1-2. Took one on the chin on Sunday, losing to Janesville 7-3 after shutting out the Jets 4-0 the night before. They are in Springfield this week to face the Blues. Kreider's done a good job with the Wilderness. Brody, assistant coach, really good job. The key to their success continues to be keeping Dave Boyce as far away as possible from this hockey team. But Dave is still out there shopping these kids around, wanting to pull a deal, just so he can be relevant. It's all about Dave, not the team. Number 4, Maryland Black Bears are 21-7, 2-1. They did not look focused in the weekend home split with Philadelphia. Maybe they're excited about going home. They visit Maine this weekend. Anything less than a sweep would be not so understandable. Come on, Maryland. You guys shouldn't be losing these games. It's ridiculous. Austin Bruins, number 3, 17-4, 2-3. swept at Aberdeen, single point from Friday's overtime loss. The Wings visit Riverside Arena this weekend. Will the Austin get any kind of revenge? The same way Austin appears to have my next number, does Aberdeen have Austin's number now? Starting to look that way. Steve Howard versus Scott Langer. Tough bet, tough fight. Number 2, Oklahoma Warriors are 18-5-0-1. Warriors had just one win in all 4 of their games in December. The weekend split in New Mexico may have taken some of the sting out of what happened at Lone Star last week. Brahmas visit Oklahoma City Wednesday before the Warriors roll to Odessa for the weekend. All right. That Wednesday night game will say a lot. Oklahoma trying to get past Odessa without playing the games would be dangerous. Odessa's a good hockey team. Much better than the Warriors are going to give them credit for. On top of the heap, the Lone Star Brahmas, number 1. Again, they're back. Well, they weren't going anywhere. 22-1-1. Unreal. They were beaten by Odessa in the shootout Thursday night before sweeping El Paso on the road. Bus rolls to Oklahoma City for Wednesday night before Lone Star hosts New Mexico this weekend. Let's get back to what we started with this show on. We've reached a point in the season where the on-ice officials should be getting better, not getting worse. Well, they're not getting better. They are getting worse. When the referees become the factor in the game, they're the reason teams are winning or losing. That's not a good sign for the game. The referees are every bit as important as the coaches and the players. But so is their performance. Players get criticized all the time, so the coaches. But why are we giving these on-ice officials an absolute pass? Because they're wearing stripes? That's not a good enough reason. There has to be some kind of performance mechanism in place where players and teams and anybody can really analyze what's going on and see. A bad referee is a bad referee. Let them go back to Bantam hockey to get better, or midget hockey, or even the 3HL. Sorry, guys. But to have these kind of officials continue to work in the North American Hockey League is detrimental to the entire league. It's hindering the whole developmental process. Saturday's game in Anchorage was embarrassing. I saw things that shouldn't be happening. In front of the play, behind the play. Both teams were doing it. And when the referees can't police the game, the players have no choice to get involved. I get it. Your buddy gets injured. You want to get revenge. I get it. I was the same way. The difference is we have respect for referees. Some of you kids don't have respect for anybody. So the referees are just another piece of the pie. Well, you better learn some respect. Because when you get to the next level, you'll be sitting on the bench. Mouth off to a referee at a college game and see what happens to you. Not a good look. And it's embarrassing for the league. You have one of the best junior leagues on the continent. So the best managed league for sure. The NAHL is a much better managed league than the USHL. It's a much better managed league than the BCHL and anything else that's going on in Canada. So when you have management right, ownership structure is really good. 29 teams, we got a few donkeys in the pony show. But overall, it's pretty good. So all that's good. So what is the biggest catastrophic failure in this situation? It's on-ice referees. These guys are atrocious. Well, Saturday night was a joke, an absolute joke. and you got to fix it. Don't punish the teams. How about punishing the referees? Hey, that game was horrible. Go spend a month in the 3HL, the rest of the year in 3HL. Bring somebody up from there. And let's do something to entice players to skip their 20 year and go into referee development, especially at the pay-to-play level. Makes sense. Listen, you're not going to go Division I as a player right now. You've been 2 years in the 3HL. You're probably going to be D3. Why not consider this route to the NHL? And a good player that knows the game better than a figure skater out there trying to get extra money will be fantastic. You know the game. You know what it takes. You know the culture. So do something about it. Skip that 20 year in the 3HL next year and go into a referee development program. What a great challenge for you. Make some money in the process. Save your parents some money. You can make money as a referee all through college. There you go. That's today's soapbox. Throat's not good. Sorry. All right, it's Monday. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you want to get on the show, I need a good backup guy, to come on when guests bail at the last minute. So if you have any experience in radio, TV, or just love hockey and can get through a whole sentence without dropping an F-bomb, I'm your guy. Think about that. I'd like to get Chris Moran to do it. I'd love to get her son to do it. Maddie'd be fantastic. Get some players in here. It'd be fun. All right, guys. That's it for today. It's Monday. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the cold weather hitting us from all sides. 61 degrees this morning in Orlando. Supposed to be cold next week. That's it for today. Stephen Heisler with juniorhockey.com. Oops, wrong site. Heishockey.com and the Junior Hockey Discussion Group. Hoping that you have a great